This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Father's Day weekend. It's not Father's Day, it's Father's Day weekend. You got to stretch that thing out, you know. One day a year is just not enough.
I was trying to convince my wife that Father's Day weekend started yesterday around 6 o'clock.
It does. As soon as you're done with work on Friday, get it going.
She wasn't buying it, though. I had a whole list of work to do when I got home.
Well, welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys, heard every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall Father's Day weekend experience.
With your car.
So if you got car questions, we've got car answers. So we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR, and you can also text us at 411-923. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we've got some Father's Day weekend gift ideas, if you still haven't got those rounded up. We've got open phones and texts. And 120, 121, it's all the same.
Right.
Does your car really care? You know, Matt, it's one of those things where I can walk through a parking lot and I'll just walk past a car and I'll just catch a whiff of it, and I know that car's got a leaky radiator. Mm-hmm. You see it all the time, and people don't really realize you got to pay attention to the smells that are going on in your garage or in your parking lot when you come up to your car. Coolant is very specific smell to it.
Well, and you were asking me earlier, I mean, what does, I mean, you know the answer to this, but what's my interpretation of what does coolant smell like? And we're going back for a little sweet smell, but sometimes maybe when it's rotten, it's a little bit different. But really, it's not important to really be able to identify what the smell is, I think. It's that something's different. It didn't smell like this yesterday. And that's maybe the first sign that there's a problem, is really being in tune. It's, having peripheral vision, in relating to your car, peripheral sniffing, maybe. I don't know.
Well, chances are you're not going to be going out today at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to, sit out in the sun and sunbathe. I'm pretty sure of that. Maybe you got some misters or something. But it's hot, you don't like it. Well, chances are your car doesn't like it either. I'm thinking it doesn't. But that's when I'm pretty sure Monday morning I'm going to go to work, and there's going to be a few cars that were towed in over the weekend from overheating. With the heat like this isn't just like it's hot. This is extreme heat, and it's torturous, and there's a reason some of the auto manufacturers put test tracks here in Arizona to see.
Yeah, you see all the cars riding around sometimes with the funky-looking paint jobs, so you can't see the body lines, or they have we used to call them the bras on the car, but they're covering the back or hiding the tail lights and stuff. So yeah, they do their testing here. But I tell you, the overheating is the one thing. I had a customer yesterday. She had a squeaky belt, and we weren't really sure over the telephone if she could get it in. Is it safe to drive or not? And of course, we can't answer that without looking at the car. And we decided it wasn't. However, just pushing it a little bit, you can take a small problem. You can take a $50 or $60 problem and make that a $5,000 problem by just ignoring it. And the overheat is the one that really, really, does that, can lead you down the road.
And
to
people
disaster.
Call me and say, I'm seeing some coolant leaking. Is it all right if I drive down to check it out? The gauge is not hot. Well, I got to tell you, that gauge not being hot doesn't mean it's not hot. What happens when there's a coolant leak, and I don't know if people understand this, there's air in your system. That temperature sensor has to be in contact with water in order to tell you it's hot.
Right.
If it's in contact with air, because there's air in the system, and usually it's pretty high up in the system, so that's where the air is going to go, it's not going to tell you the car's actually hot. And so people drive, they go, well, the gauge isn't hot. I'm like, whoa, pull over.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, and sometimes it's the mother or father, getting mad at the college-age kid or the high school kid, or vice versa, the wife and the husband, oh, you didn't see the gauge. And then we got to step in and go, no, not necessarily their fault. I mean, because you got the heat making the transfer of the water. You take a pot of water and put it boiling in the stove and stick your finger in it, you're going to burn your hand. Pour all that water out, put that same pot in the stove and stick your finger down in there.
Yeah.
As long as you don't touch the bottom, it's not hot. That's that temperature gauge. That's what Dave is saying. So it's.
I don't know how you come up with this stuff. That's pretty good.
I am full of analogies, Dave. I can
analogy master.
I can correlate something to something somehow, some way.
So what we're talking about here today is, because it is boiling hot out, and, not taking a small problem with your car and making it a bigger problem, paying attention to smells. The other thing, Matt, is you see it where somebody's pulled over on the side of the road and they got the hood open and they're staring at their car because something's overheating. And you said, safety-wise, what do we not want to be doing with that radiator cap?
Yeah, never, ever, 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 never, ever.
What should we do?
Never open a hot radiator. And even if you can get the lid open, so we're gonna maybe squeeze the upper. Someone who's experienced is gonna squeeze the upper radiator hose, maybe, and make sure there's no pressure. That's an indication that thing's just not gonna just vomit coolant out all over you and burn you. But even if you successfully get that lid off of there without pressure, and then you start filling it with nice cold water, it's going to go down the radiator. It's going to come back with hot metal, and then it's going to vomit all over you again. This time while you're leaning over it, pouring the water in. So you've got to be super, super, super careful. You just can't stress it enough. And chances are, if you've got it that hot, we had a lady pull in the shop the other day. It comes in off 7th Street. My car's overheating. I just need to get some water in it. It's leaking out. It's probably not going to help. It could very well be dangerous. And all that's going to do is, if you haven't blown the car up yet, it's going to give you another opportunity to give another shot at blowing the car up again.
Pull it over, get an Uber, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is people continue to drive the cars. So pay attention to the smells. If little red lights come on, don't keep driving. The gauge isn't always going to tell the story. But if the car starts running weird, the one thing I notice when cars start overheating, Matt, doesn't it seem like the air conditioner starts blowing warm all of a sudden?
Well, the AC will start to blow warm. Maybe it just gets a little humid in the car because maybe we have a fan that went out. So that fan, it helps cool the radiator for the engine, but that's also the condenser fan motor. So yeah, maybe the car's pinging a little bit. You hear this rattling going up the hill. That's a lot of times because of a hot engine. So you've got to be careful there. There's just a number of different telltale signs, and let's even get away from coolant. Let's talk about oil leaks. Sometimes we can have a catastrophic leak, something blows, or the car's just low on oil, but usually that's leaking onto a manifold somewhere, and you're going to smell that. And again, it's not we're looking for abnormalities. I can't even. Is that even
abnormalities?
Yeah, you got it.
Or anomalies.
Anomalies. Yeah. And so it's just something that's different. It's just not the same as it was before, and that's really where the key is. You don't have to know what it is. You just have to know it's not right. You walk into a restaurant, it smells like rotten fish. Going to the sushi joint, you're turning around, right? You just know it's not right. So the same thing with
Can
your
I get
car.
that he really rare?
Yeah.
No, you don't want it rare. Cook that thing through and through for sure. So smells, puddles, and that's the other thing is when you back out of your driveway or when you back out of a parking spot, look. Yeah, because if you see some fluid there, just be aware of it. Be aware there's something maybe going on, and a lot of people don't look. And the other thing is get in the habit of checking the gauges. I don't know how many people drive and never look down at their gauge region, and that's the way they get a speeding ticket. Like, how fast are you going? I got no idea.
Wasn't even looking, just felt right.
But just get in the habit of looking and checking those gauges and glancing down on a regular basis. Know and be familiar with where everything's at. And then that bulb check to know where those lights are and what they're going to look like. And what I mean by a bulb check is when you get in your car, when you first turn the key forward without hitting the starter, you're going to see all the lights light up. And then you can see what is actually there and be familiar with the lights and what they mean. Yellow tends to mean caution, like you can make a phone call to get to the shop. Red means just pull the heck over. So you see a red brake light, that could be you're low on brake fluid. We don't want to go driving around low on brake fluid. So that's pretty serious. And then the out of oil lights are red.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Stop.
So, and then the other lights that we have are, the overheat lights. So anyhow, if you've got any concerns about your cooling system or any concerns about your car at all, if something's wrong, nothing like 120 degrees to make it break the rest of the way. Give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. You're listening to Matt and Dave on this Father's Day weekend at Bumper to Bumper Radio. We'll be right back.